Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this Quaestor presentation. I hope you can see the screen with the Quaestor slides on it. If you wouldn't mind just writing in the chat box to let me know that you can see the slides and everything is fine. So I'm just going to check. Brilliant. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Crystal. Lovely, thank you. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Well, welcome on this Wednesday evening. I just want to do some logistics before we begin the presentation. What I've done is everyone is on mute at the moment, just so that there's no background noise. And I would ask that all the participants turn their cameras off as well, just so that people can just concentrate on the slides and not have any distraction or background distraction. So that would be great. Also, if through the presentation that you have any questions, then what I would do is encourage you to use the chat box and ask questions as we go. And what I will do is address those questions at the end. Okay, so that's enough of the logistics. So let me introduce myself. My name is Narish Harman. A lot of you may have been expecting Keld to be doing the presentation, but Keld is on holiday with his family, so I've kindly stepped in to do the presentation. So I hope you will all bear with me. But what I would like to say is, before we start, is I was once sitting where you are, literally on a webinar on Zoom, listening to the presentation for Quaestor Solutions. So I know what it feels like to be on your side. So the reason that I kind of got involved was because for me and my family, I wanted to look for something that would give me passive income, and also something that could stand the test of time, with a company that was real and that they did what they say they were going to do and provided what they said they were going to provide. So when I listened to this presentation, I was really intrigued and I got involved, and I started with just 1%, and we'll go through that in more detail later in the presentation. But because everything worked out, the company was just so amazing in helping me get set up, and really cared about that, which was really lovely. And because of that, I could see it was working. I got my rewards, and now today, I actually, a couple of months on, I actually own my own masternode, and also have invested in one share of the Quaestor exchange that is hopefully coming out later this year. So that is what I've done, but I literally really went through the company and made sure it's something that I wanted to do. So now I find myself presenting, but also I present to people who ask and who's interested. So I hope that that explains my background and what I'm about, because I was predominantly in finance. So anything I'm going into has to work for me and my family and leave a legacy going forward. So I hope that explains me in a nice introduction. So let's continue with this Quaestor presentation. So let's go to the first slide. So I'm not sure whether any of you have or know what a blockchain is, but a lot of you, when we talk about cryptocurrencies and everything out there, people would have heard of Bitcoin, or possibly Litecoin, or any other coins that are out there. And you would have also heard about probably the volatility that's going on at the moment with Bitcoin. However, what is a blockchain and therefore cryptocurrency? And a lot of people have heard these words, but let's really look into it a little bit more. So a blockchain is literally a group of computers that are all connected, that have to run a specific algorithm and have to pass stringent tests and be certified to be actually part of a blockchain. So really, when you think about it, one block is literally a block of computing capacity or resources. And in the old days, there was literally barns of computers all running, feverishly running to basically earn the honor of being part of the blockchain. And once they were passed and certified, then they became a certain block, and each block has a number, and that number designates or gives it an address. So what's the point of these blocks? What's the point of these computers? Well, they're all joined together to create kind of, a huge mainframe kind of distributed over a large area. And therefore they're connected, and they are all connected together by this software and these algorithms. And that's why it's called the blockchain. Blocks of computers all connected together to create, a decentralized computing base that actually has a purpose. So what is the purpose? Well, the purpose of the blockchain is to validate transactions. So if you think of a bank account, and currently, the banks have their own huge mainframes and computing capacity. However, if you wanted to send a member of your family €100, you could actually do that. What you need is one bank account, predominantly yours, and another bank account, theirs. And that means a transaction, the €100, has to travel from point A, your bank account, to point B, which is your family member's bank account. And hopefully they will receive the transaction as you've sent it. And that transaction gets sent over, but we don't necessarily see what's going on behind the scenes. We don't actually know the software that's being run. We don't really know, how the banks actually do it, but they seem to do it, whether it's, the same bank account or the same bank with two different bank accounts, or an account in two totally separate, banks. So this is literally what the blockchain does. It sends transactions. As it sends it, it actually validates it. Each block validates it. And because of that, it means that nobody can cheat. Nobody can overwrite one block and create a fraudulent document or change a document, a contract or whatever it is. Nobody can actually do that, because each block before it has exactly what that transaction was, or what that certified transaction was. So that is what we call transactions on the blockchain. And it's not just, the blockchain can be used for a number of things, not just for documents, but for contracts. And a lot of governments and organizations now are using the blockchain. But what you've heard of is also blockchain. You can transfer cryptocurrency, which is its currency. So instead of euros, you can actually transfer cryptocurrency, whatever the cryptocurrency happens to be. And that's actually what's happening now in this space. So that is actually what the blockchain is, and it is fully visible to anyone and everyone. So it's 100% transparent, and it's truly the biggest technology that's come out of its time. It's been around for probably now 3, 4, 5 years now, and it hasn't gone away. And even the banks are investing in their own cryptocurrency, their own blockchain. So this just goes to show how big it actually is. Now, cryptocurrency is literally digital money, and the blockchain sends this money transactions from A to B and verifies it. Now, in order to verify it, it's either verified by a miner or a masternode. And it's just like the banks verifying your money. It's all going on behind the scenes, but nobody actually knows, what's actually going on. But that's what's actually being done. So it's the miners and the masternodes that are behind the blockchain that are actually verifying the transactions. And what happens is they get paid for doing so. They get rewarded. So let's look at that in a little bit more detail. So a masternode is literally a cryptocurrency wallet that has a precise amount of coins in it, and it's directly connected to the blockchain. Now, these masternodes, when they connect to the blockchain, you can use your computer, for example, and it will have a wallet on it, and that wallet would have a specific amount of coins in it. And that, as long as those coins are in your wallet, it will serve as a masternode in the blockchain. Now, a masternode is paid to verify the transactions that helps maintain the blockchain. So all masternodes are rewarded with the coins that are mined in that particular coin. So in this case, it's Quaestor coins. If it was Litecoin, then it will be a Litecoin masternode, or a Dash masternode would therefore be Dash coins. And these are the rewards that get given and paid out to people who actually own the masternodes or run the masternodes, and this helps maintain the blockchain. Okay, so in terms of a masternode, well, you actually own the masternode, and therefore you control the coins that are actually in your wallet. And as long as those coins are there, that you literally can run that masternode, and therefore you get paid passively every day for helping maintain the blockchain, and passively you'll get coins, and that's the reward that you actually get. Now, the rewards usually go to miners. So before, when everyone had these hordes and barns full of computers and were running the blockchain, the miners would get paid. And a lot of the times the miners would earn 50% of the coins, and the masternodes would earn the other 50%. But what Quaestor have actually done, they're actually giving 100% of the rewards to people who are actually running the masternodes, and contributing to that the blockchain as we speak. So how are they doing that? Well, in total, the supply of Quaestor coins amounts to about 20 million, and these are going to be mined out over 10 years. So at the moment, it's going to be 9 years and X months, because the company's already been going for, I think just under a year now. So when we look at these 20 million coins, what Quaestor have done, what the company's actually done, is they've kept back around 600,000 coins owned by the company to create their own masternodes, okay? And those affiliates who own those masternodes, equivalent to about 300 masternodes, they get paid, okay? Which then leaves 19,400,000 coins that are assigned 100% to the masternodes as rewards. And these are actually secure rewards. So I own my masternode, I have a wallet sitting on my desktop, I'm actually seeing those coins coming in every single day, and it's great. And that's what you want to see. So how is this distributed? Well, if you take the 19.4 million coins, and you kind of roughly take the amount of years that are actually they're going to be mined over, so let's hypothetically 10 years, and in this slide it's 10 years, that equates to about 3,850 days. That's the equivalent of the 10 years and 200 days. And if you divide that, the 19.4 million, by amount of days that the Quaestor coin can be mined over, you will get literally a total of 5,040 coins that will be paid out, shared between all active masternodes on a daily basis. That's 5,040 coins, okay, and it goes without fail, okay? So if you think about it, if there were 500 masternodes currently being run, then that would equate to about 10 coins, or 10.8 coins a day, 10.08 coins a day, equivalent to around 307 coins per month. If there were 700 masternodes, that would equate to 7.2 coins per day, or 219 coins per month. And I can tell you, I'm actually getting just over the 219 coins per month. So each masternode, in order to be run, requires 2,000 coins. Okay, just to let you know that. But Quaestor are the only wallets in the world that can actually share these blockchain rewards. So what does that mean? Well, To own one masternode, you would have 2,000 coins, obviously. But Quaestor have actually made it possible that if you cannot, you know, invest in the 2,000 masternodes, well, they allow you to have a share. So, for example, you could have one share in a shared masternode. That's what they call it, the shared masternode. One share that would equate to 20 coins. Okay, 20 coins, and then you can run 1% of your masternode. Okay, or you could have 5% of a masternode or 10%, and you will get the equivalent of those coins in your wallet, and then you'll be earning for 10 years passively as a reward for verifying transactions on the blockchain, and you will see it coming into your specific wallet for that shared masternode. Okay, so that is actually amazing, and there's not any other companies that are actually doing that. So if you wanted a Dash masternode, just to give you a frame of reference, Dash masternodes, if you wanted one, it would have costed you $170,000 equivalent in coins right now to run a masternode. And there's no option to actually own 1% of the masternode or 10% or 50%. You can only own 100%. And not a lot of people, well, I certainly don't, have that kind of money. So Quaestor are the only company that have actually allowed or done the software and done the coding that allows this. So I started with 1%, and then I went full in and I got my masternode. So that's just to explain that. So this is a way of earning passively every single month through owning a part or a full masternode. So that is actually one area that Quaestor company is concentrating on. There's another area. So you have these coins. Well, what can you do with them? You know, you're earning them passively. So you could either cash them in every month and earn some passive income depending on their dollar value, depending on the market value at the time. Or what you could do is use them. And Quaestor wanted to make sure that they created an ecosystem that allowed you to be able to actually use the coins in various ways. One of those ways is hemp oil. So they've created these products and services, and this is what this slide shows, all the products and services that are currently being worked on. So one thing that is available is the hemp oil. You've all heard of CBD oil. It has amazing properties. It's something that is very good in terms of alleviating pain, relaxing, reducing stress and anxiety, and it's absolutely brilliant for the body. Now, the company currently sells hemp oil, and it currently, it doesn't call it CBD oil because the medical companies have actually patented the name. So we've called it, well, the company's called it hemp oil, and it's currently available, and you can get it on their website, and you can actually buy it and use the coins there. The next area that the company's been working on is trading bot, which is like an artificial intelligence for trading. However, you are in control of the parameters of the actual, artificial intelligence, the actual bot. Now, this is something the company's doing. It's being tested. It's been quite vigorously tested. And from, what I've heard is that in 20 days, the bot actually made 20% profit. And, depending on what you want, you can actually interact with the parameters and actually set it up in the way that is right for you. And that is something that's available. Now, it's not available right now. I correct myself. It's not available right now, but it will be. And as soon as that's available, I'm sure the company will be making an announcement. So they're just going through a lot more testing, and, they want to make sure everything's right before they make it available. Now, the next area of the ecosystem is what is called the pay-per-view. And this is literally like boxing and sports activities. So pay-per-view, you've heard of Sky, and I'm sure to watch a Premiership football game or the European League football game or UEFA. I mean, obviously in Europe and you guys, a lot of the times we have to pay in order to do that. So we have either, Sky TV, and we actually pay a monthly fee in order to watch specific, sporting events. Well, in this case, this is pay-per-view for boxing. So Sven, who's the CEO of the company, it is something he's very passionate about, and he originally was a sponsor, and he would pay for advertising, in sporting events, so the boxing arena. And then he basically decided that he wanted to become a promoter instead, sign up the boxers, create these fight nights, and actually then, televise them, and people can actually pay to view them, literally a whole fight night. And the lovely thing is, he's actually done it at a low cost, like €15, which is a lot lower than a lot of sporting events that I've paid for. So this is pay-per-view, and it just means that if there's a fight, for example, in Denmark and you guys are in Germany, well, it's pretty difficult to travel, but you can actually watch the fight and share, the way to register with other people that are interested as well. So that's the pay-per-view. The other area that's within the ecosystem is the Q cards, which are literally the Quaestor debit cards. I don't think I need to say too much about that. We all have our bank cards. We all know that, we pay for transactions that way, and this is something that is coming down in the future. Another area that is being worked on is speed control, and this is actually an app that sits on your phone, and it tells you whether there's any accidents, whether there's any congestion, and it obviously warns you about what's ahead. And it sits on your phone, it sits as an app. And the nice thing about this is that for this particular app, it actually costs about €1 a month in order to run. So for 12 months, that's €12. Well, I know for an app that I've actually used on my phone that actually costed about €70 equivalent, from pounds to euros, €70 in order to run an app. And, it's maintained and all of that, and the company that owns the app does that. Well, so too does Quaestor. Quaestor updates and maintains its app, and it's just there available to you. And the nice thing is, if you do share it with your friends and family, well, they get a month free in order to try it. So it's just something that is really there. Another area for the ecosystem is the merchants and the bags and suitcases. Well, for the merchants, it's obviously retail merchants. Now, as you know, cryptocurrency it's quite volatile. It goes up and down. So at the moment, there's hardly any merchants that accept, cryptocurrency, or in this case, Bitcoin, as payment, because, if something was purchased and it was purchased for 10,000 euros, and then the next day it was purchased for 10,000 euros equivalent, for example, in Bitcoin, and then the next day the Bitcoin dropped by 2,000 euros. Well, it's not the purchaser that's going to be out of pocket, it's the retailers that be out of pocket. So what Quaestor have done is they've ensured that they've tried to align the coins to a dollar value, and this literally negates the losses that these merchant companies would make. So in the end, the only proviso is that these merchants do accept Quaestor coins. So that's the proviso, that they come on board. So you can use your Quaestor coins to buy products, and all services, depending on the merchants that have signed up. And it's actually a win-win when you think about it, because at the end of the day, the merchants are getting free publicity. They're being advertised on the Quaestor site, and you will find more and more merchants doing this, because cryptocurrency is here to stay. It is actually something that is going to be so far-reaching that you will find more merchants actually will sign up and actually find a way to work with companies where they don't suffer a loss, especially where the companies can guarantee to minimize those losses. So that's the actual merchants. Excuse me. The next area is bags and suitcases. Well, I certainly like my bags, and I'm sure you guys like your suitcases when you travel. But the nice thing about these bags and suitcases is that they actually have a GPS built in. And that's really nice because that is not something I've seen. At the end of the day, if you have lost your bag, it's got lost or stolen in transit, or you've left it on in a taxi or something, well, the GPS will locate it. It'll be on your phone as an app. You'll be able to locate where the bag is and either go after it or report it to the authorities. You know, especially in an airport when the bags are lost and they've said it's gone to another country, at least you're going to know where your bag is and roughly track when it's actually going to get back to you. So that's kind of a nice little touch. Now, last but not least, the next part of the ecosystem is actually the biggest one of all of them, and that is the exchange, the Quaestor exchange. So, in this exchange, it is actually a place where members can buy and sell Quaestor coins. Now, the nice thing is that the transaction fees for this exchange, if you are an affiliate, you would actually get the transaction fees of 50%, you know, just by using your Quaestor coins. And that's really, really good. So the exchange is currently being set up. It is planned to be available, fingers crossed, roughly in the autumn, so around October, November timeframe. But obviously, don't quote me on that. It will be announced when it's actually is set up and running. Now, the wonderful thing about the Quaestor exchange is that there'll be other companies out there who have or run masternodes. And this is something that the company is very eager to target those companies. And I can't say too much about that now, but it's just an opportunity that is out there, and it will set to grow. And the exchange itself is going to be, you know, really, really great. And I'll show you why in the next slide. But what I will say is, for the company, they've done something really quite special, because it's easy to get an investor to actually invest in an exchange. And they did actually find an investor. It was actually going to cost something like 2 million euros in order to set up an exchange, a licensed exchange. And that's what they wanted. They want to have a licensed exchange that is safe, secure, and certified, so that anyone using the exchange would know that it was predominantly that, very, very secure. So they put it out and they found an investor. Now, the investor wanted to then invest the 2 million euros, but the investor wanted 20% of the exchange revenues, okay, which is, you know, pretty good. He wants to have payback for his investment. But really, that was all the investor was concerned about, making the money, you know, making back his investment or her investment. So what Quaestor have done, which I think is a really nice touch, they've actually said, well, they'd rather make it available to the members, you know, and the members can share in the profit of the exchange, you know, and the exchange fees, rather than everything going to this one investor. So what the company did was they took the 2 million needed for the investment, and they divided it into a number of shares. So there are 1,000 shares that the members can actually buy into the exchange. And I'll go through that in a second. But I think that's really great, because things like this, investment in an exchange, don't come along very, very, very well, doesn't come along at all. And, you know, it's usually all the private investors that get in behind the scenes. And you and I are the last to be able to get in, if at all. So I just wanted to mention that. Now, before I go into the exchange, let's look at how the company operates in terms of their rewards. So we've already spoken about Quaestor and Quaestor coins, and the fact that by running part of a masternode or a full masternode, you will receive coins, and those coins are earned passively every single day, depending on the level and percentage of the masternode that you actually own. And then you can decide what you want to do with those coins. You know, you can cash them in, have passive income, or you can choose to hold on to them and use them in the ecosystem and use them to purchase products and services. Well, in another way of earning from the company and being rewarded by the company is that Quaestor itself is actually saying, well, let's build up a community within the company itself, you know, and they call these their affiliates. They're members, but obviously they're affiliates as well as members. And what they said was, well, if we look at the ecosystem and we take 50% of the profit from the hemp oil, the boxing, the pay-per-view, and 10% of the products and services, and put that in the pool. Also, if we put 20% of the total trading fee from the exchange when it does actually open into this pool, this creates what is called a bonus pool. And the company have named this the exchange bonus pool too. Okay, but just think that it is a bonus pool, like a profit share. And this pool is just one big pool. And the pool is shared out in two ways. One being for every qualified affiliate who has paid their affiliate fee and has sponsored one affiliate will get a share, will get 50% share of this pool allocated amongst all the members. Okay, and this you actually receive as Bitcoin, as a part Bitcoin. Okay, and that's really nice. And that's, I mean, I didn't realize this when I joined, and then when I received my share of the Bitcoin, I was really quite pleased, and it was really lovely. So that is what you get. The second half of this bonus pool gets shared out to what we call the really active members of the pool. Now, if you come on board and you decide, you know, you to become an affiliate, which you kind of have to in order to own a masternode. But if you then have, you know, speak to other people and have affiliates come under you and your line, then you will actually get 20% share of the people underneath you. And it's entirely up to you to what level you actually do that. You know, some people just be affiliate and just decide to have one person underneath them. Others want to you know, share it more with their friends and family and or co-workers and, you know, get more people in. But it depends. So there's no hard sell here. There's no pressure to actually do this or expectation. It will be to the level that you want to do it. So, for example, I'm an affiliate and I've signed up 3 people underneath me, and that's really all I wanted to do. So that means I've basically fulfilled my level 1. So I've introduced 3 people and I fulfilled my level 1. Well, if you think about it, if those 3 people went out and then signed up 3 people, well then that would create a level 2 underneath me, and the total number of people in that level 2 would equate to 9, because 3 people have signed up 3 people, that equates to 9 people. And then if those 9 people decide to sign up 3 people, well then that means on the 3rd level there'll be 27 people. And if those 27 people then signed up 3 people each, then that would equate to 81 people under those people, and that would be level 4. And if those 81 people signed up 3 people, then it would equate to 243, and that would equate to the level 5. So it's a kind of a forced 5x3 or 3x5 matrix here. Now, the total amount of people that, you know, if you know, might take 2 years, might take 3 years, it really doesn't matter. But potentially there would be a total of 363, okay? And that 363, you would earn 20% of the payout that would have gone to them. So let's look at that in a little bit more detail. Well, say hypothetically, the company was paying out equivalent of €100 a month. Well, me as an affiliate, I get €100 a month. However, depending on how many people down in the downline, well, if that was the total of 363 and they all received €100 equivalent a month, well, then that means the company would have paid out just for my line €36,300 a month. But I would be earning 20% of that. So that would mean I would be getting €7,260 a month plus my €100. So equivalent potentially of 7,360 a month, all by the people underneath me growing it for themselves, you know. And so this is the potential earnings there. So, and again, you know, a lot of this comes in Bitcoin. So this is actually the potential there. And you can decide to what level that you would like to do it at. So I'm not doing it aggressively, but I'm just signing people as and when, you know, people present. And at the end of the day, everyone I've signed up in terms of my friends and family have been very, very happy. And that's the way it is, purely because there is no pressure. It's just what you make it. So that's the potential in terms of the rewards from the bonus pool. Now, the next rewards that I'm going to go through is the rewards from the exchange. Now, when we look at the exchange itself, which is obviously going to be hopefully rolled out in October, November, depending, when we look at exchanges that are out there, I'm going to just show you this slide. And this slide lists all the exchanges from Polynex and Gemini at the bottom to Binance at the top. And this graph shows you the trading fees that are being earned currently by these exchanges on a daily basis, and they're in dollars. Okay, so if we look at Gemini, which is kind of down the bottom here, and it's quite a baby, they're actually earning the equivalent of $160,000 a day in trading fees. If we look at Kraken, Kraken is earning $280,000 a day in trading fees. And if we go a bit further up to, say, let's have a look at Bittrex. Bittrex is earning $2.2 million a day in exchange fees revenues. And if we look at Binance, Binance, which at the moment is the top of the top one, is earning $3.48 million, okay, in trading fees. But I want to let you know, Binance has actually only been trading for 2 years. I actually became a member of Binance about 18 months ago. So I absolutely know it for sure that they've been operating for 2 years. And look at that, it's a staggering 3.48 million in just exchange fees a day. So when we look at the exchange, which is the third area that you potentially could be earning rewards with Quaestor, we look at the shares that the company made available to its members. So if you remember when we spoke about it, the company's made available 1,000 shares in order to fund the actual exchange. And therefore each exchange share of the exchange can actually be purchased for €2,000 for one share. Okay, and it's entirely up to you how many shares you want to buy. But for €2,000, it equates to one share. Well, what would be the payback on that? This particular slide actually goes into that. So when we look at one of the baby exchanges, which was Gemini, who was like in 18th place, Gemini, if you remember, earns $160,000 a day in exchange fee revenues. Well, if we kind of extrapolate that to make it like, what would it be per year, and take off at least 50% of costs, which is, you know, quite excessive in costs. I don't think it would be 50%, but for our calculations, let's take off 50%. Then Gemini earns around $29 million, okay, for the year. And if you take off the actual, if you take 20% profit of that, that's 5.8 million, because this is the profit that's going to the people who potentially, if they owned, you know, part of the share in the exchange, then the equivalent in terms of our share, you would get about $5,800 for in terms of rewards a year for owning that one share that's cost you €2,000. And if we look at Kraken and do the same calculation, it would equate to around $10,200 per share. And if we look at number 7 on the list, which was blockchain, and potentially their profits would be 32.4 million. Well, 1% of that, if it was paid out, would have been $32,400. And if we look at Bitrex, that would be 80,300. And if, for example, we decided to look at Binance, our one share would have equated to $124,000. So you can actually see the potential of the actual exchange for Quaestor. Now, this slide just gives you an overview of how you can actually buy a share in the exchange. And what the company have done, excuse me, is actually created some packages and what they call Evian packages in order for you to buy a share in the exchange. So to buy one share of the exchange, which is what I did, I went for the Evian 4 package. And the Evian 4 package meant for €2,000 I could buy this one share. But the company wanted to incentivize this. They wanted to give their members more an incentive. So it wasn't just them buying a share and hoping for the best. What they did was they actually decided to try and make these packages really speak to people. And as you're aware, there is a lot out there in terms of being green and our carbon footprint. Well, if we're running computers and we're running a lot of these computers on electricity, well, we're creating a carbon footprint. So the company came up with a lovely idea, and I actually love this, is that in order to neutralize the carbon footprint, they would actually start planting trees. So for my Evian 4 package that I purchased, I paid €1,000 in order to neutralize my carbon footprint, and that equated to the company planting 200 trees. Okay, and that's lovely. Well, it's not just the fact that they've planted 200 trees and that's it, and I've paid the price. Well, after 5 years, when those trees have matured and they're chopped down, the wood is actually used for building schools and for eco projects and what the like. And once that wood is actually sold, then I would possibly stand to gain at least 90 to 100% of my investment, potentially. Okay, so it's €1,000 invested now for the equivalent of 90 to 100% back, in 5 years guaranteed profit. Okay, so also what the company have done is given a voucher for the owners to actually obtain $350 worth of Quaestor coins, and those coins would be set up in a shared masternode for the actual person who bought this package, and that person will be earning Quaestor coins passively on that shared masternode for the rest of the 10 years, and that is actually set up by the company on your behalf, and that's actually quite a nice investment as well. Not only that, you get a certificate, a diploma for neutralizing your carbon footprint, and also paid, or you can because there's a fee to set up these masternodes. It's about €100 or €105. Well, you could have 2 of those setups done for free, so you wouldn't have to pay that fee, and you would also have 4 months equivalent of trading bot, so 4 months free for trading bot. So as you can see, these packages are priced accordingly. So if you wanted 2 shares in a masternode, in an exchange, then you would go for Evian 5. You would pay your €2,000 for the 400 trees plus the 2,000 euros each for the actual shares. That's 2 shares, so that's 4,000 euros there. And it depends on the level of investment. And at the end of the day, some people have just opted for this, and that's fine. So it depends on what you want to do. So that is the actual Quaestor presentation, and this slide is really a summary of everything that I've gone through. So this slide talks about the actual masternode, and that the software, the wallet, sits on your desktop. It helps validate transactions from A to B, and you get rewarded daily in terms of Quaestor coins in your wallet. And you can have a shared masternode of just 1%, 5%, or a full masternode. And I think 1% share masternode would set you back around, I think, $300 equivalent, $305 equivalent, something like that, or about $300. The Quaestor coins that are available in terms of what the company are paying out in terms of rewards for running these masternodes equates to about 19.4 million. And that equates to around 5,000 coins, 5,040 coins per day being available to be paid out 100% as rewards to owners of the masternode, or people who are owning a shared amount of a masternode. So if 500 masternodes were in operation, that would equate to 307 coins per month. And if 700 masternodes were currently in operation, then it would equate to 219 coins per month. We talked about the ecosystem, that there is the hemp oil, the trading bot, the pay-per-view, the debit cards, the speed control, the merchants, and the bags and suitcases, as well as the exchange. That's the ecosystem that you can actually use your coins. And 50% of the ecosystem profits, as well as 20% of the exchange profits, all go into a Quaestor bonus pool, and you can earn a part of that pool by becoming an affiliate and signing up one person. Okay, and that's entirely up to you how you want to proceed with that. So that is the Quaestor presentation. I hope that's been valuable. I hope that's stated exactly what the company's doing, the 3 areas that you can actually earn rewards from the company. And so if you have any questions, please go to your chat box now and actually type in those questions. And I'm actually going to go there now to actually see what's actually there. So before I do, I've just got to do one thing.